I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office.
Richard Nixon is remembered as one of the most complicated figures in American political history. Forever linked to the Watergate scandal, his controversial foreign policies, and his dramatic resignation from the presidency in 1974. But beyond the politics and the history books, Nixon's private life carried its own secrets and rumors, including allegations of infidelity that have surfaced long after his death. Today, we'll take a closer look at the two women who were most prominently linked to him, Zsa Zsa Gabor and Marianna Liu, and uncover what has been revealed about Richard Nixon's hidden affairs. Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Do you have any relatives in the necktie business or what?
No, but I sort of think when a man has some sort of a quiet necktie, a gray or a black or a blue, then he's sort of a nice, quiet guy. But of course, I always make mistakes. I used to think they are quiet and nice. But neckties can really fool you.
Zsa Zsa Gabor was already known as a glamorous actress and socialite when rumors began circulating about her alleged involvement with Richard Nixon. Gabor had built a reputation for her high-profile romances and multiple marriages, making her a regular fixture in gossip columns. Her world was Hollywood, but she often moved in elite political and diplomatic circles as well, given her first marriage to a Turkish diplomat. According to reports, Nixon and Gabor were introduced through those overlapping social spheres, and from there a relationship may have quietly begun. The claim of an affair between Nixon and Gabor largely comes from Wendy Lee, who wrote Gabor's memoir, One Lifetime Is Not Enough. Lee stated that Gabor had told her about a romantic entanglement with Nixon. The relationship, according to Lee, was a curious mix of personal intimacy and political conversation. Nixon reportedly asked Gabor for her thoughts on Turkish politics, leveraging her background and experience, while Gabor returned the favor with compliments about Nixon's masculinity. The suggestion was that their connection was more than casual, though the depth of it has always remained somewhat murky. Gabor herself fueled speculation during a 1987 appearance on David Letterman's show. She revealed that she and Nixon were close friends and even recounted how Nixon once set her up on a blind date with Henry Kissinger. That type of disclosure hinted at a unique personal access to Nixon that not many Hollywood stars enjoyed. At the time, Nixon was often seen as reserved and socially awkward, so the idea that he would pursue an affair with someone like Gabor was both surprising and, to many, somewhat believable. The visual evidence of their association came in the form of photographs. Gabor appeared alongside Nixon and his wife Patricia in several public settings, including celebrity parties hosted by the Nixons. While these images were never proof of an affair, they helped fuel the narrative of an unusual closeness. For a man like Nixon, who worked tirelessly to craft his public image, the fact that these associations were documented showed that Gabor was not someone easily dismissed from his life. The Nixon-Gabor affair may never be proven beyond doubt, but the stories and photographs together have made it one of the most enduring personal rumors about the 37th president. Marianna Liu. If Nixon's alleged connection with Zsa Zsa Gabor seemed improbable, the story of his supposed affair with Marianna Liu carried even more intrigue. Liu was a Chinese-born hostess working in Hong Kong when she first met Nixon in 1958, while he was serving as vice president under Dwight Eisenhower. Nearly 2 decades younger than Nixon, Liu became his mistress reportedly, and the relationship was said to span many years. British intelligence agency MI6 was the first to raise concerns about Liu, fearing she might be a communist spy. According to reports, MI6 placed her under constant surveillance. They even employed infrared cameras to capture photographs of Nixon and Liu through hotel windows during his trips to Hong Kong. This was the Cold War era, a time when every personal relationship of an American politician carried potential political implications, and Nixon's alleged affair with Liu was treated as a matter of national security. The FBI was later drawn into the investigation. A 1976 cable confirmed that Liu had been examined for possible ties to Chinese communist intelligence. While she denied ever working with foreign intelligence, the suspicion added another layer of danger to her alleged connection with Nixon. According to Roger Stone, a political operative and later biographer of Nixon, J. Edgar Hoover himself had possession of the compromising photographs taken by MI6. Stone claimed that Hoover used the photographs as a form of leverage over Nixon after he became president, a classic example of the FBI director's well-known penchant for gathering secrets on powerful men. Liu's own statements about her time with Nixon have shifted over the years. In 1976, she admitted that she and Nixon had been alone in his hotel room several times, but insisted nothing sexual happened. Later, she told author Anthony Summers that they only met twice and spoke, downplaying any suggestion of romance. Despite her denials, Stone and others maintained that the affair was real, citing Nixon's frequent detours to Hong Kong during his trips to Asia as evidence. Whether or not the relationship was consummated, Nixon's association with Liu created enough suspicion to shadow his career, particularly given the geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and China. The political risks of Nixon's alleged affairs.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
For any American president, personal indiscretions are never just private matters. In Nixon's case, the alleged affairs with Gabor and Liu carried unique risks. With Gabor, the danger was primarily one of reputation. Known for her flamboyant lifestyle and numerous marriages, she was someone the press would eagerly write about. Had solid evidence emerged during Nixon's time in office, it would have provided a sensational scandal for political opponents and the media. The alleged affair with Marianna Liu, however, was far more serious in its implications. If true, Nixon had placed himself in a vulnerable position by becoming romantically linked to a woman suspected of communist ties during one of the tensest periods of the Cold War. The possibility of blackmail, surveillance, or espionage would have been significant. For intelligence agencies like MI6 and the FBI, monitoring the relationship was not about gossip, but about protecting national security. Roger Stone's claims that Hoover used the MI6 photographs as a subtle form of blackmail underline the precariousness of the situation. Nixon, who was already known to be paranoid about enemies, both real and imagined, would have understood the power Hoover held. This dynamic could have influenced Nixon's actions as president in ways the public never fully appreciated. It's also worth noting Nixon's presidency was under immense pressure from Watergate, Vietnam, and his polarizing approach to governance. Had the rumors of these affairs been proven during his tenure, it's possible they would have been weaponized to further undermine him. Gabor and Liu's impact on his personal life.
Anytime you appear since 1974, there is always a chorus of criticism that says, why are you putting that man on television? He disgraced the office of the presidency, shouldn't be there, you shouldn't be listening to what he has to say.
Richard Nixon's marriage to Pat Nixon was often portrayed publicly as stable and enduring, though not necessarily warm. Pat was by his side throughout his political career, projecting the image of a traditional family man that Nixon wanted to cultivate. Yet behind the scenes, reports suggest that Pat endured loneliness and strain as Nixon threw himself into his work and allegedly into other relationships. The alleged affairs with Gabor and Liu highlight two very different sides of Nixon's private life. With Gabor, Nixon found himself drawn into Hollywood glamour, a world far removed from his Quaker roots and reputation for being stiff and socially awkward. With Liu, he was entangled in something secretive, risky, and potentially dangerous, set against the backdrop of global espionage. These dualities reflect the contradictions of Nixon himself, a man driven by ambition and power, yet also vulnerable to personal desires and risky choices. The historical lens on his affairs.
There's no way that you could apologize that is more eloquent, more decisive, more finite, or to say that you are sorry, which would exceed resigning the presidency of the United States. That said it all, and I don't intend to say any more.
Looking back today, his alleged affairs with Zsa Zsa Gabor and Marianna Liu reveal how private behavior can ripple into public perception, especially for figures of such high political stature. Gabor embodied Hollywood glamour and the cultural obsession with celebrity, tying Nixon to a world he otherwise seemed far removed from. Liu embodied the dangers of Cold War espionage, symbolizing the risks that came with personal choices overlapping with political responsibilities.
Do you consider that you've had a good life?
I don't get into that kind of crap.
Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think the allegations about Nixon's affairs with Zsa Zsa Gabor and Marianna Liu are credible? Let us know in the comments section below.